and we peacefully protest at a spot where trauma occurred, and we will not forget, and we won't let this ride. All right? So, real quickly, because we're going to make sure we keep this quick. The director and lead organizer for the Pioneer Valley Project, Tara Parrish, is going to talk about some logistics.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for being here. I just want to, before we get started, make y'all aware of some things that you might find useful, both here and as we head over to Nathanville Park. First of all, we've got water. I see a lot of you have brought water, which is great. But if you need a bottle of water, feel free to go grab one before we head out on the march. If not, we'll have a wagon along the way with balloons on it. You can see over there. So that if you need water along the way, just find where the balloons are. You can get some water. We'll also have some down there. We'll have a first aid table. When we get to Nathanville Park, if you need anything before we leave, come see us over here too. Also, obviously there is nothing but love here with all of you. So we want to thank you for bringing the love today. And we trust that all law enforcement that is here today is here to protect and serve all of us. So if you feel like there's anyone among us at any point who, as we said, there is trauma in this space right here, there's trauma in this issue that we're here together on. So please note that emotions can run high, but I'm going to ask you to repeat after me a couple of things so that we can just keep them in mind as we march together and as we gather again at Nathanville Park. So one thing is, I want you to repeat after me. We march in peace.
We march in peace.
We march in peace.
We march in peace.
Okay, thank you. So let's keep that in mind all throughout this time together. The other thing is, I want us to keep in mind that don't allow yourself, even when emotions are running high, please don't allow yourself to take anyone's bait if they're trying to bait you. Okay, so I'm going to have you repeat after me. Don't take the bait.
Don't take the bait.
Don't take the bait.
Don't take the bait.
Okay, let's keep that in mind. And then the final thing is, I want you to repeat after me. De-escalate.
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 Okay, so thank you for that. Also, if you need anything, I think, where's Yolanda?
Right here.
So Yolanda Cancel is going to be really leading the security on this. If you see anything that makes you uncomfortable, just check her out. Get her attention so that we can address. As we said, we come in peace today. We're here because of the pain, the trauma, and the hope that we have for something better here in Springfield and in this country. And so I just want to thank you all again for being here.
Let me hear you say some wonderful things for Tracye. All those who lost their lives to police brutality. Thank you. Open up with prayer. So we're leading us in opening prayer. We're going to have from Mount Zion Baptist Church, Reverend. Hey.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. God, Jesus Christ, now you're set up in with this treatment of you protested by going into the temple. And we ask, oh God, that you give us clarity to enhance. We ask that policies to make our protest. And we ask that give us perseverance to mirror our collective power. Our hope is is in you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let me hear you say it again. It's a wonderful day for change.
It's a wonderful day for change.
For those of you who don't see Springfield in the alternative school 15 years. And you know anything about the demographics in Springfield and the racial disparities existing in special education, you will know that most of the students who sat before were black classes. And when I was teaching them, every year we would cover the poem by Langston Hughes called Mother to Son. And in Mother to Son, Langston Hughes takes on the voice of a mother having a difficult conversation with her black son about how difficult life can be for him. But at the same time, she wanted to instill some hope for him and encourage him to never give up. In 2012, after Trayvon Martin was brutally murdered, my world shook. And I realized it was time for a new conversation. Because now I had to have that conversation with my black and brown boys and girls. They're killing us too. And I also had to have a conversation with my then 15-year-old black son. It has to happen. That dreaded conversation. Set aside feelings of hysteria and trepidation. Bring the knowledge, history, and logic. Similar to the message, life ain't been no crystal stair, a black woman has to forewarn her son that he is among the hunted and feared. And while you adore him, America abhors him. The details have changed, but the danger he faces hasn't. And the past it was, that's master's woman. Even if that's your wife, if he comes for her, look away. Stay away from white women. Remember what happened to Emmett Till? Don't look a white man in the eye and remember to say, sir. But today, we got to be explicit when teaching what to do when stopped by an officer. Any swift movements could end in a stream of bullets. Why you have to say that, honey? Don't you know what puts you at risk? We got to teach them their amendments and Miranda rights, making it clear that they may be violated anyway. You can't walk down that block. Even if family lives there, you may be mistaken, handcuffed, and taken. I love the color red too, but you don't want to be gang affiliated, do you? This conversation is a warning. It must be articulated delicately. Otherwise, it becomes discouraging and he feels defeated before the fight bell rings. We got to be more than mommy. We got to be referees. Careful not to make a bad call. Appear optimistic and strong, all the while hoping, praying we don't get that call. That he's behind bars or on the ground, surrounded by evidence markers and yellow tape. And I know it's equally painful, infuriating, and humiliating for black fathers to have this talk to. But I'm speaking from a black mother's point of view. Burdened with this particular duty, as I look into his brown eyes, he towers over me, but this teenager is my baby. From my womb, one day soon he'll be a man. So I'll be damned. I'll be damned if I don't do all I can to save his life. And that means swallowing the lumps in my throat, setting aside the inner hysteria and trepidation, and having this life-changing but absolutely dreaded conversation. Here we are 8 years later, and what I hate most about having to recite this poem is that I'm now having this conversation with my other son who's 8. So I couldn't shelter him until he was 15 from the fact that his life was in danger and that America doesn't love him. I had to tell him at 8, so I stripped his innocence from him at 8 because of the world that we live in. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm a change maker. That's why you're a change maker. So today is a wonderful day for change. Let me hear you say it.
Today is a wonderful day for change.
Yes. And so I'm going to call up one of our other change makers who I tease him all the time. But he's one of the bravest men I know right now because he ain't here for the nonsense. He ain't scared. He ain't scared to speak up for you and to speak up for us. So give it up for your city council president, Justin Hurst.
Everybody give it up for Toya B. Toya B. Now, American teachers that we had to look up to at Central, that her 2 former students are standing before hundreds, protesting against justice. I say we want justice. You say here in Springfield. We want justice.
Here in Springfield.
We want justice.
Here in Springfield.
We want justice.
Here in Springfield.
Take your knee off our necks. Take your off our necks. How many times do we have to tell you that we can't breathe? Why do you have to watch an 8-minute, 6-second killing of George Floyd over and over and over again for you to understand? Most of us that look like me fear for our lives every day. Even worse, I educate children their black lives really do matter. But that they can also be taken away in an instant who they don't matter to. Nathan Bill's restaurant protest against police brutality. Let me be crystal clear with everyone here today. This is a peaceful fear in residents that this was divisive, and we deserve better from our elected leaders.
Yes, sir.
You are going to hear from a diverse group of speakers delivering messages that are filled with love and reflect greatness and our city has to offer. These individuals have the courage to stand up against the status quo, the good old boy network, and systemic oppression that has stagnated a city with infinite unrealized potential. They are victims and survivors, faith leaders, community activists and organizers, students, residents, and politicians who are standing in solidarity with the Springfield movement that is determined to shout as loud as we can, take your knee off our necks. We may live in fear individually, but united, we fear no one, and will continue to protest and march until our demands are met. It is no secret what happened to Mr. Floyd on the streets of Minneapolis came dangerously close to happening right here in this parking lot. What disappoints me most about both incidents is that those who were in a position to assist lacked the moral compass to act the injustices of their colleagues that were taking place right before their eyes. When I say we must, you say hold accountable. We must hold accountable. We must hold accountable those individuals who continue to aid and abet those who refuse to take their knees off our necks. We must
hold accountable.
Now we're talking. The commissioner who knows his officers did wrong but refuses to swiftly levy any disciplinary action against them. We must
hold accountable
the district attorney who won't even investigate police misconduct, never mind press charges against rogue officers who break the law. We must
hold accountable
a commissioner who will take advantage of a pandemic to reinstate officers who are under indictment by the state attorney general's office. We must hold accountable politicians who remain silent.
Yes, sir.
Justice them now more than ever. Hold accountable the mayor of the city of Springfield, who has allowed injustice, police corruption, and fear to fester under his watch. Finally, today marks the anniversary of D-Day in 1944, where over 6,000 men and women gave their lives to fight against the very things we are fighting today. We were right side of history then, and we must be on the right side of history now. Thank you.
Don't play. Let me tell you something about council members that don't play, all right? Because from the beginning, when she started to run her election, she let it go who she's the one for. She said,
Bruh.
period. And she stood the moment that she was elected. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Miss
Tracye.
Everybody, I was supposed to speak at the park last. City councilors, we jump in when we have to. So, I just find that came out. I know we had the parking situation and the threat of being told, which I think was the divisive as well. But we don't care. Like I stopped as we parked and we still walked over. We don't care about that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. My speech is going to be a little bit different because we all know that the injustice of is horrible. But we have injustices right here in the city. Right now.
Yeah.
Okay? We need to talk about those too. Here in peace and love with all of you. Today is a great day, isn't it? Yeah. Today is a bold day, isn't it? Yeah. And not only talk about injustices of black and white privilege, black people and white privilege that takes place nationally, but we're going to talk about this and white privilege that happen in the city of Springfield. You have those out there that would like to silence the conversation by using scare tactics of over-policing. We don't care, National Guard, because we're in peace. So come on out. They want to board up, build violent vigilantes. We don't care. Board them up. That's yours. You gotta take it down. We don't care. Do that, right? And they want to send out their idle threats. They want people are coming out, but guess what? We're still here anyway. That's right. We are here to stand in solidarity, peace, love, following the guidance of our ancestors. You read my speech. Here, I'm sorry. I'm gonna pick it up then. All right. Our ancestors. Okay, I'm going over. We are here to stand in solidarity, peace, and love, following the guidance of our ancestors, and be strong for ourselves and especially our young people. We cannot make our young people cowards by being silent. So we gotta speak up, and I ain't never scared. All right? We have, and it's okay to use our brains and our voices. So right now, let's give our young people a shout out for the protest that they're holding, for the people that they got to the floor. We want our young people to know you are truly amazing. We are here to mentor you. So when you need help, you call us. Now there are only a few things I want to talk about today. White privilege. White privilege is the social privilege that benefits white people over non-white people. It's inherent advantages possessed by white people on the basis of race. So what do you mean by inherent, you ask me? Well, that's a great question. But I have to take you to understand why white people hold the wealth and the power. They hold this wealth and power because for over 400 years, acts of chattel slaves and black people. For years, they have used their privilege to pay us less, feed us worse, hold our benefits, separate our families, kill our men and our women. Now listen, we know the present day white people didn't do this. Raise your hand, white people, if you're here and you didn't do this. That's right. We know it, and we love you. We love you for being here, right? We know you didn't do this. But your privileges, your privileged position is because of what former white folks did do. Right? And still today, the racist, supremacist white folks and those that stay in silence are still contributing to the injustice. So white folks, again, I just thank you for coming, trying to learn, trying to gather us and be together, because we need all. And so before I move on from white privilege, I'm gonna give you a few more examples of what it is. You can go shopping without being followed and watched. That's white privilege.
All right.
If you can turn on the news and 75 to 80% in a positive light, well, not so much now with Trump. But that's white privilege. If your sons and your daughters walk out the door without you worrying that they may not be back because of racial, that's white privilege.
Talk about it.
Jobs and not be hunted down like wild animals by random people that they don't even know. What is that? That's white privilege.
Yeah.
Drive their cars at any time of the day. Get pulled over by police for whatever reason. Make it up. A tail light, on the car. Pulled over and not in their neck or not get shot unarmed, and for that matter, armed. That's white privilege. They can take a seat in a bar, whistle for a drink, not get kicked out of the establishment by owners, not be beaten by off-duty police, have their case tried, have officers under investigation but brought back to work by the police commissioner and supported by the mayor. Well, we all know what that is. What is it? That's white privilege. Now, collectively, time to go. Now, collectively, that's right. All right. Now, collectively, there are many things that we can do, but I'm only going to focus on a couple. First, I want to stress the importance of voting. Vote for people that will fight for you. Vote for people that will have the courage to have the tough conversations. Vote for people that won't send automated email messages when they're not going to show up to a conversation. Vote for people who can admit their wrongs, apologize, correct them, and do better and move forward. Vote for people who if they don't know your plight, they at least try to understand it, like Joe Kennedy III. Vote for people. We need that too. Vote for people who will fight for social and economic injustice at the taxpayer expense. And if you don't want to vote for any of those things I mentioned, vote your heart. But for the love of Black people and all people, please vote. And finally, my final point, because I know we got other speakers. We have got to build our own financial freedom and generational wealth. As a collective, we spend $1.2 trillion in America. Yet, according to studies, only 2 to 3% stay in our own community. Now, we got to do better than that. Who out here know Jay-Z? Anybody know Jay-Z?
I heard of him.
Well, if you don't know Jay-Z, look him up, because he's giving Black people the blueprint. Now, I'm going to give you some of mine, okay? All right. We must invest in our own neighborhood and properties, and I'm not talking about just buying houses. We need to buy the building. We need to learn how to invest in the stock market. We need to buy Black art that would appreciate it. We need to have savings accounts and do our taxes. We must have insurance, life, renters, business, disability, long-term care, but we got to have it. We must have our own business and patron them without asking for a discount. And black people give us a discount sometimes. we must we must patent our ideas and not share them with folks that can steal them and make them their own. And this is a big one. Y'all listening? We have got to have good credit. Jay-Z says more important than throwing your money away at the strip club. Credit. Okay? This is true, guys. We got to have good credit. Okay? I'm not politically correct, but I am here to tell the truth. We must make sure that everything we do for the good of our people. And I will leave you with this quote by Malcolm X. He said, as long as we stay in these conditions, we will keep on begging him, and he will control us. We can never win freedom and equity until we are doing something for ourselves. And so today, going forward, we're doing it for ourselves. We are not stopping here, and we will implement the blueprint.
Change makers, let me hear you say it's a beautiful day for change. All right, and next up, we got another change maker. Give it up for the president of our Talbert Swan.
Good afternoon. We're so glad you're here today. Just take a look around you and look at black people and white people and Latinos and Asian folk and every color across the rainbow that have all come here to say, as our illustrious counselor has said, get your knee on our neck. I want you to pay attention to the backdrop. I guess they thought we wouldn't know where Nathan Bills was if they covered up the sign and boarded up the building. And, it's ironic that you thought that violent and out of control that needed to board up your building here today in the midst of a peaceful protest. But your building wasn't boarded up when police officers were beating the black off of black men right here in the city of Springfield. I pay attention to the fact that Bank of America, who has a history of redlining, in the middle of this pandemic, when PPP monies came, small black business, while they catered to their corporate partners, to large businesses, no building boarded up. To wall that they've got their building boarded up and had unmitigated to call for cars to be towed out of this lot today. Well, looks like we're going to take our business somewhere else. We're going to take some of that $1.2 trillion that we put into the American economy every year to a business that respects us and that can stand with us in the cause for justice. I want you to also pay attention, because there are some politicians who said, if this was about George Floyd, we'd come and stand. And you're going to talk about corruption here in the city of Springfield.